Welcome to North Attleborough This Week as we recap town news for the week of February 6th through the 13th. I'm Peter Gay. A 3-year term for the part-time position of town clerk. Kevin Poirier topped the ballot with 447 votes. Donald McEachern will also advance to April's election, finishing with 141 votes. M. Carey Gilbert IV was eliminated, finishing third with 91 votes. John Donahue Jr. withdrew from the race after the January deadline, but still received 18 votes. Poirier, McEachern, and Gilbert joined Free Press editor Peter Cox and me on this set after the results were announced. Did you come out on top because you're Kevin Poirier or because you're Betty Poirier's husband?
Riding her coattails. No, well, let's put it this way. I think Kevin Poirier still has a name. I think that, I think that they still remember the 12 terms of Massachusetts House of Representatives and everything else, Peter. But I'll tell you what, I think it's nice to be Betty Poirier's husband. I think that she's done well politically, and we've both done well as people who are involved in the political world and as husband and wife. So it's been a great marriage. What can we say?
Kevin Poirier.
Yes.
Betty Poirier.
Yes.
Mr. and Mrs. North Attleborough, one might say. How do you overcome that name recognition?
Work. 110% work. I'm not going to give anything less than 110% all the time. That's how I work things. Selectmen met with members of the town's finance and school committees and discussed 3 scenarios should the override question go on the ballot April 7th.
This truly is a compromise, and I appreciate that. I know you guys represented us well, and I see it, and it's reasonable. And
if I may, that's exactly the reason why we know that there's a point of unaffordability in the override. Maybe we've surpassed it already in some people's minds. Any override, I mean, a $1 override may be unaffordable to some people. There's different threshold limits for every person depending on what their conditions are, what their expectations, what their needs are. There were a lot of things that were not addressed in this override because we looked at it and said, at what level does just get so much that we know we're going to, do we take a better chance of getting this big of an apple, or do we take a risk of getting nothing or this big of an apple? I think we took the approach of let's try to get a package that is saleable.
All those in favor of 1? All those in favor of 2? All those in favor of 3?
I asked Town Administrator Mark Fisher on Wednesday when he knew he had had enough of winter.
You hear a lot about a shortage of salt. Fortunately, we have a contract in place that's working out very well, and talking to the Department of Public Works yesterday morning, our shed was 25% full, but between yesterday and today, he was expecting another 400 ton to come in, so we're going to be in very good shape for the next storm.
The North Attleborough Housing Authority welcomed a new executive director last month. Dan Willett took over from Lyons on January 1st.
I don't know anybody who came along and said, when I grow up, I'm going to be a housing authority director. It's not really by design. You find your niche and you grow into it, and then as you get better at what you do, those who get better become directors.
So what did you end up majoring in? What does one major to end up where you are today?
My bachelor's degree was in secondary ed, speech communications.
That wraps up this edition of North Attleborough This Week. On behalf of Chris Miller, Megan Miller, Trevor Bowman, Brett Poirier, Lauren Carpenter, and all of us here at North TV, I'm Peter Gay. Have a great week.